It's been a while since we did a Sharp Saturday video here at Survival on Purpose, and I've had several requests to bring that series back. So I thought I would do so, and we're going to start with this $20 Camilus Swedge Knife that I bought at Home Depot. Let's have a look and see how well this does that knife stuff coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Whoop, 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 whoop. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. As I said, we're going to bring back Sharp Saturday, starting with this Camilus Swedge Knife. I picked this up at Home Depot. I thought it'd be really cool to see how a $20 knife you can buy anywhere at Home Depot would perform, the regular knife stuff we do here. So we're going to do that coming up next here. We're going to probably even take it to the old balance, orientation, and rotation device and see how well this kind of chisel tip functions. But first, a word from our sponsors. Today's video is sponsored by Hog Holsters. Hog Holsters are made in the USA in Arizona, and they are without a doubt the most comfortable concealable holster I've ever tested. Once I found Hog, I just stopped looking. So you can save 10% on your order at Hog Holsters by using the coupon code Survival on Purpose, all one word. That's hogholsters.com. Thanks to Hog Holsters for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so here is the Camilus Swedge Knife. I bought this at Home Depot for just under 20 bucks, $19.90 something. Talk about the specs of this thing. By the way, it was one of these blister pack knives. Got the specs on here, so we'll talk about those real quickly, and then we'll get to doing some of that knife stuff. Okay, here's a little close-up of the Camilus Swedge Knife. The overall length of this knife is 8 3/4 inches, and the blade length is 4.3 inches. The knife weighs 9 ounces by itself. Comes with a kind of a plain basic plastic sheath, kind of similar to a Morris style sheath with a drain hole in the bottom. It snaps in fairly well, and the weight with the sheath is 10.5 ounces. This thing features a fiberglass filled nylon handle with a full tang inside the handle, pretty wide tang, about this wide, as wide as that area there. The starting at the tip, it has a chisel tip that is not really 100% sharp. It has a little secondary bevel, but it's very, very shallow. Then it has pretty much a full flat grind from the 1/4 inch thick spine down to a secondary bevel on the straight edge here. The grind looks pretty even. It seems like the very end of it is not quite as good as the rest of it. Has a nice little sharpening choil here, and on the back of it, it has this cross-hatched kind of a wood file looking pattern there. Going on to the handle, nice little finger swell down here, finger groove, sort of a guard that flares up at the outside here like a guard. It's got some little notches, index notches here on either side. If you want to use it for like a chisel, you're pushing down or something like that. And then a little bit of a swell in the handle, and a little bit of swell this way, and a kind of a flare on the end as well. It feels really good in my hand. They're calling this steel titanium bonded corrosion resistant stainless steel, and they say it's 3 times harder than non-treated steel, whatever that means. So that being said, I think we should do some of that good old standard knife testing. And first of all, we always want to test the edge with the internationally standard sharpness test, the Redneck Sharp test. So we're going to give that a shot now. Here's the testing medium. Let's see if we can try every part of the blade, and so far we're getting an absolute failure on the Redneck Sharp test. All we're doing is scraping some dry skin off of the testing medium. So we're going to give that one a non-pass on the Redneck Sharp test. Okay, so it's not going to make it in a barber shop, but what about in the real world? So tell you what, let's do some basic testing. First of all, we got our little chopping testing medium. Let's see, not really a chopper, but it is reasonably heavy at 9 ounces, and it's kind of thick. So let's just see if it does any kind of chopping up here. We'll give it a few chops, and I'll give you my take on that. Here we go. Okay, so you can see it just wants to come out of my hand. It's kind of the taper here goes up. It's not conducive to holding on to it because it does taper down. So we're gonna, not great as a chopper, and I really didn't expect it to be. It is kind of a small knife to be a chopper. What about some more robust knife activities as well? So Here's a piece of birch, just kind of like you might find laying in the wild. And here's the old baton. Let's just see if we can, this has been kind of damp laying out here. See if we can get to some drier wood on the inside. Where's this thing? Maybe. Let's try again. Okay. You aside, you aside. Now we'll try to get to the interior of this thing. And it's soaked up on the ends, but in the middle, I think we're dry, so. Let's see if we can carve some of them there curls off of this thing. You don't think? It is not the greatest edge I've ever seen. It's not horrible, but certainly not the best. Okay, so not too bad there. Once you kind of get the hang of it and kind of get used to using this particular grind, this knife, you can stand a little bit of work on it, but it's not too bad. You have a couple more curls here. Let's see what we can do with this raspy looking back, though. That might be a good way to get some tender stuff going. So definitely make some dust. You know where we're going next, right? We're gonna reach down here into storage and get this piece of Fatwood that is actually the first piece of Fatwood. I guess I harvested this almost 10 years ago, and it's been here in storage in my outdoor studio for almost 10 years, still going strong. It started out about twice as big, but let's see what we can do with this. Let's carve us a few Fatwood curls. Yeah, this edge is not great for carving Fatwood, but what about scraping some Fatwood? Let me get around here where you can see it. How about that? Let's try it like this. Let's see if we can just scrape it down like that. Not too shabby, really. I don't know that it's any better than just scraping with a sharp spine, but it makes some dust. So, you know where we're going now, right? The final fire test. Let's see what we can do with this thing. I got my, as I say, my second favorite Ferro Rod here. The Exotac Fire Rod XL. Let's see if this gnarly stuff here will strike a Ferro Rod. It'll tear up a Ferro Rod. Let's try it with a chisel tip. Looky there. Pretty stinking good. So, there's some real world knife testing with this thing, but I think maybe it's always a good idea to get a little scientific, right? Okay, so like I said, as you know, here at Survival on Purpose, we are all about the science, and to that end, we maintain a state-of-the-art, cutting-edge knife testing facility. And one of the tests we always put every fixed blade through is our aerodynamic balance test using our balance, orientation, and rotation device. Now, this one does not have a pointy point on it, so I'm not sure how well this thing's gonna go, but we gotta give it a shot for the science, right? So, proper scientific procedure is critical. Whoop, 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 whoop. Ew. Shall we try again? Whoop, 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 whoop. When Alexander Graham Bell first invented the telephone, he had 3 missed calls from Chuck Norris. Okay, well, maybe for one of the very few times ever, got a knife that fails the balance, orientation, and rotation device balance testing. And you can see up here where when I was releasing it, it kind of turned sideways. You can see it's here, here, multiple places. Even I couldn't, even here, I just couldn't get this chisel tip to embed properly in the balance, orientation, and rotation device. So let's just wrap this up and give it a quick recap. As far as the redneck sharp test, it failed. As far as chopping, it didn't really expect it to. It did, but it did what you would expect a knife this size to do. Batoning, smaller stuff, baton's great. It carved okay. The back wood raspy file side, it did okay for getting some Fatwood dust up. I don't really think it did any better than a really sharp spine. And the chisel tip did the best of all this of striking the Ferro Rod. I didn't want to keep chewing my rod up with the back here, so for what it's for, which is a tool to use maybe for kind of a chisel or a working around construction, it's probably okay. But for just an all-around camp knife, outdoor knife, I would stay away from this one. And I don't like to do negative stuff. I'm not negative. It's not really the knife's fault. It's not what it's designed for. But if you're at Home Depot looking at knives, you think maybe that would be great for the campsite, this is probably not the one you want. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. As always, thanks for watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.